Well, when we think about the feedlot industry as a whole, what's the most important part of that? The performance of the animal and what it does for the company's bottom line. So when we think about that feed, in order to maximize the performance of that animal, it's all about intake and making sure we're getting all of those ingredients and that ration that's designed for them into them. So mainly what we're trying to do is maximize the feed to optimize performance in the animal. When we think about the variables that go into feed mixing and what can create some variation in that uniformly mixed ration, a lot of items can come to the forefront, but what I really try and focus on is main three, and that comes down to equipment management, diet ingredients, and mix time. When we think about equipment management, we want to make sure we're keeping those trucks clean. We're calibrating those load cells so that we're getting the right amount of feed into our mixers, and that we're not overloading or underloading from what that is optimal for that truck or wagon. We also want to make sure when we're talking about the diet ingredients that we're thinking about what the dry matter of those ingredients is, because that can change what our mix time is by quite a bit. We don't want to over-process corn, and so we want to make sure that we're not mixing too long in a steam flaked ration, but we get everything effectively mixed. We also want to make sure we're getting all of our feed additives like Rumensin, Tylan, Optiflex, and even our Pulmotil mixed in evenly so all animals have a chance at eating those ingredients. Finally, the most important one when it comes down to it is mix time. What we tend to forget, especially as producers, myself included, is that we don't remember that mix time doesn't start until the last ingredient is actually added. So even though you're running your PTO from the mill over to the dump box, you're actually not getting it all mixed in until that last ingredient is added. And those are things that we sometimes forget, and we're trying to encourage our producers to remember. Elanco, as a company, has always wanted to make sure that we're giving back to as much to our producers as possible from a value standpoint. So that's not something that's changing, that's not something that's going away. That's going to be a continued service. What we're going to try and move forward in doing is a little bit more hands-on training with different feed crews at the request of the nutritionist in the feed yard. We also are offering a new service of our feed mixer studies, and this is much more intense. It's a little less about the training and more on the technical side. So what we actually do is this is at the request of a producer who really wants to know what his optimal mix time is for his specific trucks and his specific diet. So we'll go into a yard, we'll look at two different trucks, we'll want to measure them at two different time points, 2 or 3 minutes, and then we'll go and we'll take 4 samples across each load, and we'll do a regression, or we'll map out what those samples look like in their pass-fail range from an assay standpoint, so that we can pinpoint where that optimal measurement is for that producer. So far, it's usually been in the 3 minutes, but there is a lot of differences when it comes to dry matter of the diet and the trucks themselves.